welcome to this episode 11 of Tales of Escuria. As always, we are presented by and in association with Horsham Gamers. We are a local group that covers the whole range of gaming through from tabletop and board games such as this, through to esports, competitive gaming, retro gaming, anything that you can think of. If it's something to do with gaming or geek culture, then we're interested in it too. So if you'd like to come along and meet some of us and maybe have a chat with some of us about getting involved with stuff, then please do. You can find us on Facebook at Horsham Gamers. Just pop by and have a chat, and we'd love to meet. So, without further ado, let's get on with episode 11 of Tales of Escuria. So, as we left off, you guys had just found the recently deceased body of a dwarf, and clutching in his arms there was a small leather-bound book, and inside the book were a few letters written in Dwarvish. You guys had respectfully laid him to rest in a more dignified manner than just being left on the roadside, and you continued on with your journey for the rest of the day. So, let me just roll on the table and see if anything happens to you guys on the way. 6. Okay. So you guys continue walking for another couple of hours or so. In this time, as you're walking, Alessia, someone comes up to talk to you. Someone that you've seen in the party who hasn't really interacted with you very much. He's a very odd-looking guy.
Okay.
He has kind of mint green skin and long, kind of curvy horns. And in the horns, you can see he's got various different like sigils or letters that have been carved into them.
Mm-hmm.
And as he approaches, he seems to be in a kind of a jolly mood. He seems to be smiling entirely too much right now. Like, at any given time, if you see this guy, he is smiling just a little bit too much for the situation.
Okay.
But he walks up to you, kind of like jauntily, like hopping on a couple rocks at the side of the road to kind of get around the other guys and catch up to you. And as he approaches, he kind of looks up to you, and he's smiling quite wide, and he's just like, "So, what's what's your deal? You know, what's what's up with you?
What do you mean with my deal?
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but you know,
You mean this week?
and well, look, I haven't met many people who are, and he kind of like gestures up and down, and it's just like quite as tall as you are. You know, I've only met one other, and that was like 2 days ago. So, like, what's what what? I don't mean to be rude, but what are you?
I am a Goliath. I have to say that I haven't met many of my kind neither. But yeah, I suppose I have giant blood.
Hmm. So, I'm guessing you are not from around here either, then.
No, I'm not. I'm
Hmm.
actually from far away.
Hmm. Suitably mysterious. I like it. Okay, you can keep your secrets for now. But if you're going to be traveling with us, then
I don't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, repeat, please.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can keep your secrets then. But if you're going to be traveling with us, at least for a little while, then would you like to take a chance on some strange items?
On some what? Sorry.
Some strange items?
A strange at. Yeah, Let's see.
He looks. His smile gets even like wider, and you swear like for just like a second, like you can hear him laughing, and behind the laughter you can hear like almost like small other laughters being like,
Oh
like in
my
the
god,
back of
where
his
am I?
throat. He goes, "Okay, let's have a look then." And he like as you continue walking, kind of like swings off this pack that he's holding, and he kind of like offers it up to you and is just like, "Take your pick." So roll a D100 for me.
Okay, just sorry.
Okay. 60. Okay, let me have a look for you. Sorry, just wait for the table to load. Give me a second. Um, so yeah, you have a bit of time to kind of rummage around in this sack. You can feel there's various different loose objects. Your arm goes like quite far into this bag, like a little bit further than you would expect your arm to be able to fit inside this bag. And you start kind of rummaging around. I can see you there, Laura. Yes, it's a bag of holding. You can calm down now.
Can I have it?
No.
um,
I want
so
that.
he rummages around, and eventually you feel there's something kind of metallic in your hand. Um, so when you pull your hand back out, you have a small, what looks like a very kind of pretty ornamental box.
Mm-hmm.
It appears to be made of some kind of metal, kind of. It looks like tin, but it's got kind of ornate carvings on it in various different, very. It's on that very fine line between being very pretty antique and being extremely like gaudy and distasteful. It's like
Okay.
right on that line, and you can't quite decide which side of it is on the line it is. Um, but yeah, when you pick that out, he kind of smiles at it and he's just like, "Yes, my box of pretties. I do like that one. If you would like to have a look inside."
Should I?
Entirely up to you. If you like to keep it mysterious, then you can keep it closed, but it's yours now, dear.
Mm, yeah, I'm too curious to keep it just like that and maybe to dump. So I will open it.
Okay. You open it up, and inside there's various different what look like this. It's very strange because in your like humongous
Hand.
hand, this like decent sized ornamental box looks like a tiny toy box. But you open it up, and you can see that there appear to be various different kind of necklaces and earrings and the other kind of these items, like just kind of piled up in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you kind of like rifle through it a little bit, again, kind of like with the bag, when you kind of reach your hand in, your hand seems to go a little bit further, like through where you'd expect the bottom of the box to be. It seems like this box also is a little bit larger on the inside.
Okay.
Uh,
So that I don't think the jewelry could fit me, but this box seems to be wider than it looks.
Yes, you are a very astute one. I get this. Yes. Well, you can keep the box if you wish. I'm happy to take the pretties back though. And he reaches up and kind of like grabs this again extremely like weird gaudy necklace that seems to have like various different obviously fake jewels in it and this kind of stuff, and ends in like kind of like a crystal pendant. And he just kind of like gets it, and then he like puts it on his horn and like starts tying it around his horn, so now there's like a little jewel pendant like hanging down off one of his horns. And he's just like, "What do you think? Do you think I pull it off?"
uh, sure.
Hmm. No, I
It,
appreciate the flattery, but I can tell that's not what you really think. And he kind of like takes it off and then just like chucks it off into the grass, and he's like, "I'll find it. Fine."
okay.
But yeah, so if you fancy anything else, you can try your luck again.
I'm okay. I think I will keep this. Thank you. It might be useful.
Okay, okay. Just I haven't had a lot of time to really inspect the box particularly well myself, but I've found that it seems to like pretty things. It doesn't seem to
It
like
seems
things
to
that are
like.
not pretty. It likes the pretty things. It doesn't like much else.
Okay.
Just
So,
you'll figure out what I mean. Don't worry about it.
okay.
Um, he kind of like puts his sack back on and continues walking beside you. And he seems to be just like whistling like a happy tune. Um, there's something vaguely familiar about the tune. Give me a history check.
How do I do that? Sorry.
It's in your skills.
Okay, I see. Done.
History. Okay. So with an 11, it takes you a little while to kind of you start recognizing. You know that some other sailors that you've traveled with have like sung this tune before. It's like a sea shanty, but
Mm-hmm.
um just as you're about to kind of like get there in your head to be like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember the next bit of the tune. He kind of switches to doing a different tune again, and you're just like,
Okay.
okay. Um, but yeah, as you continue to walk, he continues just whistling, and he never makes it to the end of a single tune. He just switches tune when he gets bored. Um, so yeah. If the rest of you have anything that you want to say to any of the other characters, then now's a good time.
I think I'm okay.
Cool.
I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
This be a good moment. I'm asking myself. So we're casually walking, right?
Yeah.
And we want to be fast.
Yeah, with the with the guidance of Gimbal kind of at the front, you're moving at a pretty decent pace.
No, then I don't think this is a good timing to take Jenkins on a test.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good timing. No, I should wait until we're somewhere we can
Yeah,
rest.
I think a good time would be like when you rest for the night and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, setting up camp or whatever. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that later then. So yeah, as you guys are walking, another couple of hours pass, um, until eventually, um, one of you, whoever is kind of closest to the front of the group, who's currently here, um, one of you, who do you think would be kind of like closest to the front of the group at the moment? Because it probably would be Gimbal, but he's not here at the moment. So
Not me.
Probably me and Kada.
okay,
I think that Idris should be the.
I'm
or
helping the
Alessia.
old lady.
So Alessia,
Yeah.
I guess.
um,
I was helping
this,
too.
yeah. In which case, then, Vixen, can you make a perception check for me, please?
Okie dokie.
Okay. Um, with that, as you guys are kind of following for a little while through this undergrowth, eventually you reach what looks to be kind of something approaching a trail. Not necessarily. It's not a road by any means, but you can tell that travelers have probably walked this way before a lot, and it's kind of formed like a little bit of a natural trail. in between some of the undergrowth. And as you're walking along this trail, after walking it for about 10 minutes or so, you hear some rustling up ahead in the undergrowth.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
That's something.
Can I roll insight to see if I might know what it is?
I'm not sure insight would be the one. Survival would probably be the one.
Ah, okay. Give it a go. Well, it's not so bad.
Not bad, yeah. So kind of your ears kind of like prick up and start to kind of like move slightly more than a normal human's ears would be able to in this situation. Just kind of like, and with that, you're able to hear what sounds definitely like footsteps, but there's also another noise, which is kind of like this rhythmic tapping, as well as the footsteps.
Say something.
Yeah. How far are they? Can I determine how far they are? Like if I
With that survival check, they're probably about like 40 feet ahead of you at this point.
so they'd hear me if I shouted, but if I talked to the rest of the party normally, would they hear me?
You make a stealth check with advantage.
Oh, okay then.
Like there's thick undergrowth, but it's possible they might hear.
Okie dokie. Where's my stealth with advantage? Well, it's not so bad.
Oh yeah, easy enough. You're able to hush your voice down to tell the rest of the party anything you'd like.
Okay, guys, there's some people coming. I can make out some footsteps and some sort of tapping noise. Can't tell who it is. I would say weapons ready, just in case.
You're
Okay.
able to tell from that roll, it's just the one person and
Oh.
whatever the tapping noise is.
Okay, so maybe a guy with a stick.
That's what
And
I
the
think
other
as well.
tapping?
Yeah,
Mm.
probably.
And in
Okay,
which direction I could just go and scout?
they're heading this way, so just be on your guard. Just be ready.
Okay. But yeah, I put my hand on my sword, but just hold it there, just to be ready to draw
Yeah,
it when we
not
need
looking
to.
threatening, but
Yeah.
our weapons are ready.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so after a few seconds, are you guys kind of like continuing to walk towards the sound, or are you just like stopping and waiting?
No, we'll just continue.
Yeah.
Just continue walking. Cool. See, after a couple seconds, you kind of round a corner in this trail, and you come across what looks to be a very old man. And you can see now what the source of that tapping was. He appears to be wearing a blindfold, and he seems to have a stick out and kind of like using it as like a guide stick to try and like tap out the path in front of him.
Mm.
And when you guys spot him up ahead, he kind of as he rounds the corner, he can hear kind of the clanking of some of your armor and the loud footsteps of your particularly large new friend. And he comes to a halt and just kind of raises his hands up in front of him, including with the stick, and he's just like, "Who goes there?
You all right there?
What? Where are you?"
We're on the same path. Are you okay?
Okay. Where am I?
Oh
In
no.
the woods.
Where do you want to go? I just walks up to him, not too close, so he feels comfy, but he's asking, where do you want to go?
So, when you said in the woods, like he literally just chucks the stick down. And he's just like, "Damn it, not again."
Where were you heading?
I had been trying to get to Yokai, but I think I got turned around somewhere. I was going to go over the mountains and just.
You're in luck. We're heading to Yokai. Want to hitch a ride with us?
Yeah, you can come with us. I can give you a helping hand.
We should stop like helping
Inviting
all the random
everyone.
people we find.
That's our
I
job,
mean,
we're heroes.
we might need to ask him something before helping.
We can keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I'm sure we
I
can.
will help him. I will stay close to him and have an eye on him while I'm helping.
I mean, we have a Goliath in our party now. If he turns out to be something he's not, I think we're good.
Yeah. When you offer to help, he just kind of like you can see him smiling and nodding and just saying like, thank you very much. You know, there are so many shady people these days. You know.
I know. By the way,
Can I roll in
what's your name?
insight?
Okay, no, yeah.
You can roll an insight on him.
Can I too?
Can we know his name?
Insight. Everything he's said so far is the truth.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
My roll 20
So,
just stop. Oh, okay.
what's
Yeah.
What's your name, mate?
yeah?
My name, and then when like you speak Alessia, he gets very confused for a second, and then like looks up, and he's just like, "Oh,
She's really big.
that explains the noise." Yeah.
Sorry.
My name's Zafri.
Safri.
Zafri.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
My name is Diego de la Vega. Nice to meet you.
I look at Alan in a really confused way. What did he?
the guy,
never
like,
mind.
you can see him trying to mouth whatever it is that you just said several times, and he just says, "Nice to meet you too." Anyway, let's
I pick up his thingsy that
Don't
he
pick up his
just
stick.
his stick. I
Don't pick up his
stick.
stick.
It's laying on
Yeah.
the floor. I have to pick
He's
up
a
his.
blind man.
Yes, that's why he needs his
Yeah, he
stick.
just chucked it on the floor.
He just chucked it on the floor. What should I do? He needs it in his hand. And then I offer him my arm and I look at the big girl and say, yeah, I think now you will have to care about Miss Darkness alone.
Miss Darkness.
Darkness.
You can see for a second Lady Selwyn is like she's about to get annoyed at you, then she's just like, yeah, that's kind of accurate. I won't dispute it.
How is she? She's okay to walk, or should I carry her?
She's obviously
Carry her.
okay. Come on.
If you ask her, she'll say, "Oh no, I'm fine, dear. It's fine. It's
Carry
absolutely
her.
fine." But yeah, she's not doing very well.
Grab her and throw her over your shoulder.
Yeah, sure. I can just carry her like if she was a backpack on my back.
Yep, do it.
Like Yoda riding
She's a
on Luke.
lady.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Idris is shaking her head.
Lady Selwyn looks obviously like a little like unhappy about the situation, but at the same time she's like, oh okay.
It works, I guess.
And
Still kind of weird.
the blind man like takes your arm, Idris, and just kind of smiles, and he's just like, thank you very much. Oh, it's a very bulky arm.
I won't say anything. I just say I'm happy to help you.
You guys continue on for some more of the day. I will make a survival check on behalf of Gimbal to lead you. Just give me a second.
Can we ask Zephyr more questions about his trip?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have some time? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of time while you're walking.
Tell me, old man, why do you head to Yokai?
Well, I have some family who are down in Talonview, further south, and things were starting to get a bit rough in Sakani, you know. And he just kind of like gestures at his whole situation. He's just like, it's very difficult for a blind man not to be victimized. So I think it was well time I moved to somewhere a little bit quieter.
Yeah, we'd heard on the road that there was a ruckus in Sakani. What happened there?
Oh, it was awful. It was absolutely terrible. We were well. Last I heard, there'd been some attack on the fighting arena, or whatever it
Gosh.
is. Yeah, it was terrible. Lots of people died, and then these terrorists, and they were trying to find them, and the city went into lockdown. Some horrible sound coming from the ocean. I think someone said something about a wall.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was.
The Mexicans pay for that wall.
Yeah.
Is that
They're
the
going to
biggest
build a wall,
question?
and Korath is going to pay for it.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I
And
see.
he's just like, it's it was a horrible situation. Lots of looting, lots of panic.
And
The city got shut down. I managed to make my way out just by well, walking up to the gate and asking very nicely.
and when did you left?
I left about a couple of days ago, right about when all of this was happening. As soon as the attack happened and all of the business started happening, I thought it was best to leave as quickly as I could.
It's
Gosh.
fairly surprising you arrived this far away, being, blind. And I just like punch him in the face without punching.
I made an inside check with 19. What do you want from him?
I don't know. It's,
I'm kind of, like, punching
He
him
must be the
in his
best
face,
liar.
and he just kind of starts like waving his hand. And he's just like, is there a bug? I can feel if something moving.
I push Ellen away, but not too hard, just a little bit. Just Ellen.
okay.
Stop being Ellen.
Mhm.
And he's just like,
Don't do this.
Who's Ellen?
It's our invisible friend.
It's a nickname.
Ah, yes.
We can't pronounce his name either.
It's
That's
weird.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
very good. Very good.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Now when you say, I think Vixen.
Hmm.
Did you hear anything about this explosion or whatever in the arena? Terrorists? Did you hear about something?
Only that there was a ruckus in Sakani. No idea what happened there.
I want to roll an insight.
I heard,
I mean-
it was one of your fellow.
Okay. First
colleagues.
thing.
Right.
First thing. Vixen, make a deception check, and you can make an insight check if you want, Laura.
I hope you guys are having this conversation without the ears of the blind man, because I'm trying to not give ourselves away. He thinks we're terrorists.
I mean, he's blind.
Ha!
Yeah, he's decently convinced. Like, he just kind of nods and is just like, it's sad days indeed when a man can't even live out the rest of his days in peace in the city you grew up in. Terrible, terrible days.
Am
I
I
find it
convinced?
surprising no one came with you.
Well, like I said, all my family is down in Talonview. They grew up and they wanted to strike out by themselves. You know how it is, young'uns. So,
Well,
head
we'll
down.
guarantee your safety halfway.
that's more than I had before, so thank you very much.
Am I convinced that Vixen is telling the truth? That she doesn't know anything more?
The Vixen is telling the truth.
I want to know if she knows more about this whole situation because she's a shady person. I met her after this thing happened. I saw it happen, and I don't know who it was. I'm still interested because I saw 3 people making the arena explode.
Okay. So this is interesting because you tied.
But I have the second higher.
That's only with advantage. You didn't have advantage.
Yeah, you didn't have
No,
advantage.
but somehow you have
You,
to
you,
make.
you tied on those rolls, and your bonuses are the same. So yes, it would have to go to advantage. So you're not able to tell much at all. Like you're able to tell that Vixen is clearly lying to this man, is clearly not telling all of the truth to him, but you can't tell anything more. You're just like, I know she's lying, but I don't know how. I
Okay.
don't know what about that was a lie and what wasn't.
So I will have to question her when we get rid of the man.
Idris,
Yes.
I can sense you're a bit doubtful. We'll talk later.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I just, I play with open cards. I would appreciate if everybody else would do this as well, except Dark Lady. That's, I gave up.
Like from a few meters behind you and also up in the air, you hear very faintly, I'm a very honest person, thank you very much.
I didn't doubt that
She's
you're
right.
honest. I didn't doubt that you don't tell me everything. You don't play with open cards.
Yes, that's. I suppose that's true.
There's a little bit of difference between honest.
There's
and...
honesty and there's privacy. Privacy is just as important.
Thank you very much. I entirely agree.
Well, I don't think that blowing an entire arena is like privacy. And yeah, well, we'll talk later.
Yeah, I think we should talk about that later. Yeah, when we have time to rest.
The old man, as you're walking along, just says like very quietly, like to himself, like only just so like the people very close to him can hear, is just like, these people seem to have a lot of trust issues.
Who doesn't?
Oh,
yeah.
I am walking right next to him, right? I looked at him. I say, yeah, that's because they didn't feel the light of Dollara till now.
Oh,
That's why they can't trust.
You just hear him say like the what of Dol what now?
Yeah, don't worry.
Oh,
the light of goddess.
Dollara. Yes. Do you know Dollara, the greatest goddess in this universe?
Not again, please.
He just kind of like he nods and he's just like, well, I thank you very much for the help, but I have my own faith. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. That's I respect that. That's okay.
as do I. I shake his hand.
He's very confused because he doesn't see you going to shake his hand. He's just like, whoa, oh.
Oh, Vixen, don't scare the poor man.
I was just agreeing with him. I wanted to shake his hand.
You scared
Gentleman
him.
trusts in his
Some
own
prior
faith.
warning may be required. I can't really see much coming.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. People forget. Just yes.
I want to ask him. I don't want to be insensible. Is that a word?
Insensitive.
Insensitive. Okay, but how did you lose your sight, and when did it happen?
He seems to be kind of a little sad. Like he looks down for a second, and then when he looks back up, he just says, I used to be a soldier, and not anymore.
And there's
Was
no
one
way
of the,
to cure it?
But do you have like eyes?
Do you have eyes? Oh my god.
Like, if it's possible for someone who's blindfolded to give you like a long hard stare, he's giving you a long hard stare right now. Just like,
I don't know.
Yes, I have eyes.
And
Yeah, but I meant
nobody could cure it. Is there a way? Do you know about a way to cure it?
Possibly it could have been cured at the time. I caught a particularly nasty necrotic curse to the face.
Ooh.
Curse.
Yes, it was
I
We
look.
went into battle. We weren't entirely sure what exactly we were going to be facing, and apparently they had a necromancer.
Oh.
Who are they, and is it contagious?
A
Oh
necromancer.
no, it's quite all right. It's
I'm glowing a little bit
I'm-
more. Idris is getting really angry. He said necromancer, right?
yeah. He said necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
He said this was a long time ago. It was a raid by I think it was House Tithos. I can't remember.
I want to ask the old lady if she knows about what would happen to him exactly, and if there is a cure right now when we go to Yokai.
Okay. As in, are you asking the old lady like right now?
Yes. Hello,
Okay.
dark lady. I think you could help me with something.
Yes. What can I do?
Um, do you know about this curse something, and if there is a cure for it in this state?
It sounds like if he was hit with something necrotic, those kind of things really need to be healed at the time. You know, they need to be fixed within maybe 1 to 2 days, and it requires some pretty hefty magic to undo some of the kind of heavier damage. Some really strong restoration from some very powerful clerics. And if what he says is true, and this happened many years ago, I doubt there's anything that could really repair the damage. You could have the eyes replaced with something magical, a construct perhaps, but I don't think there's much that we can really do with him in his current state, and those things tend to be quite expensive.
Magical construct. What do you think? Is there in Yokai somebody who could do something like that?
In that shithole? No. They probably have some pretty standard healing, some maybe a cleric of some kind, I imagine, but I doubt they would have anything of that kind of caliber. I think you'd probably have to go to House Korra for that kind of thing. Uh, Irama or Prism Hall, somewhere where they have some more some stronger magic.
Hmm.
I guess.
I'm sorry for you, old man.
I guess you don't want to come with us to House Court.
Are you?
Well.
Who are you saying that to?
I'm asking the old man.
You're talking on behalf of the group, and
I don't care. I want to help him. Does she
If-
look like she ever cared about the group in that case?
If you like mentioned to the guy like, do you want to come to House Coffee? He's just like, oh no. I'm I've been like this for a long time now. I'm pretty used to it. And well, I just want to live out the rest of my days in peace with my family. I have no desire to go gallivanting off halfway across the continent just to try and get
But-
some eyesight back.
If I would come back one day to Yokai and would carry something like this eyesight construct with me, would you be happy about it?
I mean, I'd be happy about it. Yes, I would
Okay.
most definitely be happy about it. But
Good.
w- why would you do something like that?
Because necromantic damage done on this world has to be somehow removed.
I disagree.
Really glowing Idris.
I don't really mind if you want to lose your time helping this random old guy.
I don't mind if you want to help him, but
Up to you.
necromancy, the world's in balance. Leave it at that.
It's not imbalance. They bring back dead souls to life. That's not balance at all. I can't see any balance. They should be dead, and they should stay dead.
What use would you have for a cleric if that was the case?
That's not okay. Also clerics shouldn't bring back the death.
Well, when you're dying, I'll remember that next time.
That's okay. Don't ever bring me back from death.
You can see Jenkins is like standing next to you, and he's got his little like notebook out again, and he's just written necromancy bad, and then underlined it several times.
Really bad.
Yeah, got it.
I think necromancy could be quite helpful in certain situations.
What do we know about necromancy?
Depends.
What you know about necromancy? Give me an Arcana check.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. You know nothing.
Like,
You know nothing.
You don't even understand like the word necromancy. Literally, they could be saying like waffle waffle, and you'd be like, oh yes.
Yeah, yummy.
Childhood, that one.
What do I know about necromancy?
Give me an
It's
Arcana
bad.
check.
What's that?
An
Arcana
Arcana check.
Third one
Okay.
down.
You know a little bit more. Like you understand the word Arcana at least. Sorry, the word necromancy. You understand that it's something to do with magic involving the dead. Like it's something to do with manipulating like the life force of creatures.
And that's really, really bad.
But that's pretty much all that you know about it.
It's
I
dark
think then
magic.
I agree about the dead should be kept dead.
Idris, let me ask you something.
Listening.
If Jenkins was dying a very painful death, you wouldn't want to save him?
If he's dying. If he's not dead already, then you can help him, yes.
What if he's been dead for only a minute?
Then he's dead. It would take away
And you
every
should leave him
holiness. Yes. Definitely.
It wouldn't change who he was.
Yes.
Not if he's been dead only a minute.
It would change that he's not holy anymore.
He would still be the same Jenkins.
But he would no. Death should be death. You shouldn't ever touch that.
I mean, I can kind of understand if he's been dead a long time. No offense, Jenkins.
No.
But he's if he's decomposing and a bit smelly, no one wants that around their house. But if he's only been dead for a matter of minutes and you have the chance to bring him back, he will still be the same Jenkins. He will have literally only been dead for a few minutes.
He would be an undead. If he would be an undead, it's not okay.
Well, poor Jenkins.
But isn't that beauty? It's beautiful having your friend back again, right?
But not as an undead. You shouldn't. A human shouldn't touch the life.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not that bad. Do they? Okay. Do they eat brains or something?
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
I don't know.
A human shouldn't touch into the circle of life. We are not gods, and that should stay like this. Life is holy, and also death is holy. You shouldn't change anything about it.
The problem there is you're thinking of life as a circle, where it doesn't have to be. You can make it infinite. Why have a circle when you can have infinity?
That sounds terrible.
Do you believe in souls?
Yes, and they should be free when they die.
I understand.
Jenkins
It's
is
not
looking
like
very confused at the whole situation. He looks up at you, Idris, and just says, "If okay, if I was dead, but like I'd only just died, and then you prayed to Dollara, and Dollara brought me back.
Then a god decided, not me.
Okay.
If a god decides you should live, you will live. But a
But-
human shouldn't decide.
Necromancy comes from gods too. You do understand this.
But
It's different if you choose to do it. If you have the force, if you force somebody into life, that's not okay. If I pray to Dollara, I don't use any magic for it. If Dollara says, yes, that was a mistake, this human should live, then it's okay, I guess, because I didn't decide.
but why a god should have more like
But praying is not some sort of magic because you're praying to a god, and if you wouldn't pray it, maybe the god wouldn't notice.
and anyway why a god should have
It's like summoning.
more authority over our friends than we. I mean, who are gods anyway? They don't care about us.
I can-
Jenkins, like, he doesn't seem very happy with what you've just said, mostly, Elland. But like, he looks over towards you, Vix, and just says, "So you're a cleric, right?
Yes.
So when you do spells and stuff, you pray, right?
Yes, mostly.
Okay.
The
So
power of that magic comes from a greater being, if that's what you're asking.
okay, so if you prayed and you brought me back from the dead,
Hmm.
that would come from your god. Yeah.
Yes, technically.
Not really, because she can decide if she wants to do it or not. Not the god decides. If I would
The
pray to
god could say
Dollara,
no.
The magic bestowed that I can use is in favor of my god.
but still you decide.
It's the fact that I have that magic is because of the god I follow.
So theoretically, just if you asked your god to bring me back, your god could say no. Yeah.
Yeah, she could say either.
Not if you use necromancy. You force it. You don't even ask your god. Your god gave you power and you use it as you wish.
But the gods gave you necromancy. You do understand that.
And
yeah,
Necromancy someone didn't just discover necromancy. They weren't just tinkering in a kitchen one day and went, oh, look, I made a person and reanimate. Aren't I clever? It was bestowed by gods.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that I obviously just talk about the good gods.
See, now you're backpedaling, Idris.
so this is politics.
There are
Anyway.
devils and there are evil gods, really evil gods. They do really bad things on this planet, but they're good gods. The most of the gods are good.
That's what your god teaches you, but you don't know that that's true.
Oh, I definitely know.
No, you believe. There's a difference.
And
I didn't believe. I didn't believe before I saw my goddess, but I know gods before I believed. I studied long enough. I'm actually a scholar. You people don't know, but I've come from a really big university. That's how I stumbled upon my god. I'm actually a scientist. That's actually her background. That's actually her background. She's actually a scientist.
Oh.
Are we anywhere near yokai yet?
Like, yeah, bringing that very long theoretical conversation to a close. You guys get to a point. You realize that for a little while, you've been following this trail. Gimbal seems to be a little bit kind of confused.
Oh no.
You get to a point when you keep walking through the forest, and suddenly you come across like what looks like just like a sheer like rock face in the middle of this forest. And when you get up to it, he kind of like puts his hand up against it. And he's just like, no, we've got turned around somewhere. All right, let's head back the way we came a little bit. We'll camp out, and I'll have another look in the morning. It's getting too close to dark for us to keep moving anyway. So you guys settle down for the night. Start building camp. So as per usual, there's going to be three different spots overnight for you guys to kind of keep watch. We'll say that one of those slots is going to be taken up by Hawk and Lady Selwyn, so we can split it evenly into two groups of two for the rest of you. So who wants to take the first watch, and who wants to take the last watch?
I vote me and Idris take the first watch because we need to have a conversation.
Not without Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins can come. He's fine.
It's okay. I'm quite tired. I agree.
Okay, so you're going to take the last watch with Elland.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so the first watch comes around. As per usual, one of you can make a perception check to try and give advantage to the other person. So, who wants to do what?
Okay, second. Yes, advantage. I can try.
That's really bad either way.
Yeah. So
Somehow
you're,
roll
you're
20
not able
takes
to give much advantage,
quite long since I'm streaming. Don't know actually why.
Oof.
Mhm.
How much
Okay.
luck can you have?
So you guys, you keep a lookout. You're kind of you're watching out into the forest, and it seems to be fairly quiet. Unlike some of the previous nights where you have like little bits of wildlife kind of investigating around the edge overnight, doesn't seem to be anything. Like there's a little bit of a gentle breeze occasionally, but otherwise just a quiet night. And you guys have plenty of time to discuss whatever it is you need to discuss.
Idris,
I'm listening.
I couldn't help notice you were doubting me earlier. What is on your mind?
Oh yeah, that. So-
Just before proceeding, is Jenkins with you?
Yes, of course he's
Yeah,
with
he
me.
is.
Okay.
Where should he be? Chunk is by my side. So, yeah, you were at Sakani as well, right? The day the explosion happened.
I was.
Because I saw three shady figures open some kind of a weird box. I don't actually know what it is, never saw something like that. And I thought maybe, you were around, but you saw it from a different perspective than I did, or the other three guys. And also the old shady lady, the dark lady, didn't say that she know what happened actually. So, did you see anything suspicious that could help us clear our names? Because the whole thing started like that.
Unfortunately, I was running late. And I don't know if you already know this, Idris, but I don't know if we've really had time to speak on this, but I used to be, before this journey, a slave. My silk mother, my master, we were actually heading towards the explosion at the time. She had a book, she had a mission. I don't know what she was doing. I was following her. We got into a fight. She tragically lost her life. And I turned tail and ran the other way.
Okay. So. Okay. Okay, I see. So do you think she knew anything about the explosion?
Oh, I think she knew lots about the explosion, but I have no idea what she didn't tell me. She was going to tell me when we got there, and we never got there.
Okay, so she knew something about it.
Yeah. I mean, if you believed in necromancy, I could always bring her back and ask her.
No, don't ever bring her back, please.
I punch her in the arm as like a jest. It's like, ah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so you said she carried a book.
Yeah.
Did you see that book?
I did. I decided to leave it with her.
You know what was inside?
Nope.
Okay, no problem. We'll figure out something else. Which maybe it helps if we know what type of people surrounded her. Did you hear anything before? You were a slave. I can't believe this. Okay, so poor little Vixen.
Oh.
Now I'm sad for you.
You don't need to be. I'm not a slave anymore.
Yes, you're true. You're free. So, do you have any idea what the explosion was about?
No. Purple lightning, some massive bang, a lot of ruckus. Obviously, at the time, people were running away, rightly so. We were running towards, which, I just went along with it. And then everything sort of unfolded quickly after that. Then I met Hawk.
Yeah, I see. And Hawk, do you think Hawk could know something about it?
Yes, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if Hawk knows everything going on.
Oh, we should
Whether you
maybe
can ask him, though,
him.
is up to you. I'd like to watch that.
I guess I should. Right tomorrow when he wakes up. It's the only way to clear our names. The whole thing started with the situation that the arena exploded, and then these three guys were running, and a lot of things were happening, and it was all a bit weird. And Ellen was accused. I think it started with all of that. Ellen was accused of the exploding thing, that he did it with his friends.
I think when we lose the current tag-alongs, that maybe we need to sit down and have a discussion about this. I mean, I'm completely indifferent on the matter. At the end of the day, if I'm lumbered as a terrorist because I'm traveling with you lot, well, then lumber me as a terrorist. I'm not bothered. But it would be interesting to find out what actually happened and what the explosion was for, seeing that maybe it held some importance.
Yeah, I somehow feel like your master, or the master you had, was the actual terrorist, since you know so much about it.
Well, I know we were running late, so I don't think she'd have been in good favour for not being there on time in the first place. But still,
she was somehow involved. At least
if something comes out of the grapevine, people know my face. People know who I am. I'm sure if something comes out in the future, that maybe I will get the information you seek. But until then, I can't help you any more than that. But Idris, I'm going to always be honest with you. I'm not the kind of person to be deceptive to people I'm traveling with.
Right.
If I see deception as a way to protect people, I will do that. Just like you decided to use Lolth as a way to deceive people, Idris.
Yeah, it was a hard time in my life.
Yeah.
I had to get over it. There was really troublesome 2 days. Don't. I don't know. Yeah.
That we can agree on. It was a crazy few days.
A lot of things happened. So yeah, I think we should. I'm not sure. So who are you loyal to right now, since your master died? I'm a little bit scared about it, to be honest.
At the moment, myself and.
So just imagine these people who made the explosion, who created it. Your master probably was friends with them, or at least knew about them, or was somehow connected to them. So if they would show up and Who would you choose to stay? Which side would you choose?
The side, and I think you might respect this from your own beliefs, but I would pick the side my God most approved of. And I would expect in a certain situation that you would do the same.
Yes, but there's a
Yeah.
little difference. My goddess tries to save lives, and your goddess is a little bit more mean, to put it in a good way.
I would say playful.
Killing people is playful. Okay.
You don't get a rush when you killed and severed that head, because you seemed like you were getting a rush. Or when you sliced up that mushroom, you seemed again like you were getting quite a rush.
I was trying
Death can
to
be fun.
save people, but an explosion in the middle of a crowded city is. No. There were a lot of innocent people, around this explosion.
You don't think the mushroom was innocent?
No,
No? Why not?
it killed a lot of other things. And you remember the guy we helped? He was really thankful that we helped him
He
away
was
from
very
the.
thankful.
Yeah,
He was very thankful.
I
But if
don't
you
think
look at it from
anyone
the
was
other,
thankful in the city.
if you look at it from another point of perspective, the mushroom was more parasitic. Did you not notice how he was transforming things through himself? Everything was sort of bounded to him.
But he
In
took
a
away
way,
the
he's just
control of
trying to,
life.
but he's trying to survive himself. He's got to be doing it for a reason. I mean, you know, being a woman of religion
Seeking
already, that everything
power.
has a life and reason to survive. It could be anything from the smallest ant to the biggest Goliath.
Yes.
It's no different. It's everything has a different way of surviving. Just because the situation led you to feel that it needed killing,
I
you
can
you
understand
killed it.
that, but what does it? What purpose had the explosion in the middle of a crowded city?
Well, again, we're not going to know that yet, but there may have been a purpose.
I can't see any good purpose for that.
Well, it may not have been good for you or your perspective, but it may have been good for someone else's.
Seeking power is not a reason.
You don't know that that's what it was for.
That's the only reasonable thing that it could be for.
You seek power in followers.
Oh no, I just try to help people to see the light. They
As
don't
you
have
guys
to
are having
believe.
this discussion, which like by the minute becomes more and more of an argument. At some point, like a pillow just hits the back of one of your heads, and you can just hear Hawk going, "Can you please just go to sleep?"
Sorry, Hawk. Have a good night. I'm quiet from now on.
Mm.
Okay.
So you guys are pretty much coming to the end of like your watch at this point anyway. So you guys head to kind of go to sleep, and it's the middle watch. So I'm going to do luck roll for this one. Cool. So the last watch, you two guys get waken up, get woken up by Hawk comes and shakes you both awake. Well, in Elland, in your case, kind of just like gently shakes you awake, and you, Alessia, he has to kind of like try and shove you to try and shake you awake.
Okay.
You're more awoken by the sound of him like trying to being like trying to move you rather than him actually moving you.
What are you doing?
It's your watch. It's your turn.
Okay.
And like as soon as like it looks like you're both getting up, he just like goes back, like lies down. You see he kind of like takes the time to like very carefully place his pillow, then like immediately just like flops heavily down onto it, just like immediately back to sleep.
Deep sleeping. So,
yeah.
should we use perception?
Yep. One of you roll to give the other person advantage. So who has the higher perception of the two of you?
Let me check. I have
You're
3.
muted, Ran.
I have a 3 on there, so yeah.
Me too.
I guess it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. One of
So-
you just roll to give the other one advantage then.
How do I give the advantage to him?
Just
Just
Yeah,
same?
just rolling.
Okay, so I do give advantage to him. Oh, sorry, sorry, that wasn't right. Perception here.
Yeah, perception. 9. So you weren't able to give him advantage on it. You're finding it a bit difficult to see. You're used to kind of like wider open spaces. It's a little bit kind of cramped.
Okay.
And Elland, as you're kind of like looking out into the night, just as it's kind of coming to a bit of a close, you see on the edge of the camp what looks like a large deer-like creature, something like a stag. It appears to have very large antlers that seem to be made of crystal, and there seem to be 2 red gems, one at the end of each antler.
Oh, we've seen that already, right?
You haven't.
I
You
have.
Oh.
haven't.
Sorry.
One of the other members of the party has.
Go for
Okay.
You're
it. Go
just
for
about
it.
able to spot it in kind of moving through the undergrowth. And as you're kind of watching it, there's a point when it turns and it makes eye contact with you that lasts for about a second, where it's just kind of like looking directly at you. You can see that its eyes appear to be slightly glowing, and they're kind of like a pale, kind of like moonlight blue. And then finally, it turns and quickly starts bolting off into the forest away from you.
Go
Mm,
for it.
how fast is it?
It's moving very fast.
Yeah,
Like it
okay.
is. Um, it's
Oh.
it's basically moving about as fast as you can sprint.
No, I won't chase that. Hmm. I just pinch at Alessia. Have you seen that?
What?
It was like a really big deer. Like, was it white? White?
It was difficult to tell. Like it seemed to be kind of pale blue.
Okay, yeah, it was like
Okay.
not white but silvery deer with really big horns. I don't really know if I'm just that. I still remember that trip on inside the barrel. Maybe I'm still flipping around.
Teasing. Maybe you need some more sleep. I
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
maybe. So, can you do this thing without me?
uh, I'm sorry, but I'm not so big, so good, such a good person.
Okay, yeah, don't worry. I had to try. So,
You're funny.
no, I'm not. I'm just pragmatic. Okay, yeah, so let's be the watchman. What do you see?
Do I can see something?
You can see the forest around you. You can see um, around kind of the edge of the forest from time to time. You can see kind of gentle colors, gentle kind of glowing from various different mushrooms and other kind of fungus and moss. Um,
Okay.
kind of like there's a small kind of pool of water just at the edge of the point where you've sat down, and it's almost like, you know, when you see like colorful neon lights kind of like reflected in water, and the water's
Can
kind
I
of
use
shimmering.
sorry, can I use this moment to ask about the quest a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Sure. So, I'm wondering what has, sorry, I'm trying to build this sentence in English. What, why are you, why a bunch of so different people is together on a trip? What
Mm,
are you looking for?
well, where are you from?
I am from,
But
sorry.
have you been around Sagani lately?
I should have visited Sagani when I was riding with the pirates, but I don't remember it very much.
Okay, yeah, so lately it has been a little mess. You know, there's a family that rules all Sakani, all the, you know, all the mob around that. It's the Rodriguez family, and you know, they call me Alan, but my real name is Diego de la Vega. And yeah, we're like a rival family, and we kind of clashed, so we had to escape with my mother. Here you can see sleeping a little tiefling. She's Keida. She's really nice. She's been working for us a lot of time. And the other people, we just, yeah, you know, Idris. She's always trying to help, so we gladly accepted that help. I mean, she's strong, and she just recruited one of our soldiers. And Vixen, I don't really know. I think she's had a crash with Hawk, and she's just following us to, yeah, you know, he's really funny and yeah, good looking guy. I don't know. It was a mob thing, and yeah, we don't want to get murdered. That's the baseline of the story.
Make the biggest deception.
With disadvantage.
Okay, and Alessia, make an insight check.
Mm,
Oh.
Oh, oh. Why
So
do you have
you can
this?
sense that, like, somewhere buried very, very deep down in everything he just said, there might be something that was true, but pretty much every single one of the details in it is a complete lie that he's making up on the spot.
Okay, guy, you don't have to tell me the truth if you don't want to. It's fine. You're really messed up if you don't want to say what really happened.
Okay, okay. Don't worry. I will tell the truth anyway. I guess it's fair. Yeah, some explosion happened in Sakani. I guess it has to do something with House Korith. And I think that's why our Foxy friend wanted to have like the first watch with Idris. They had something to talk about. Mm, not related really, but someone just mispointed a real word in English.
I understand you.
Okay. Yeah, and we got confused, and my family was accused of that, and a bunch of things happened, unfortunately, and we had to escape. I always wanted to leave Sakani, honestly, and obviously my family, but yeah, my mother is useful sometimes.
Okay, can I check if he's telling the truth now?
Yeah, I'll give you this one with advantage.
Okay.
It's very
Okay.
difficult to get a read on him. Like,
Okay.
you get the feeling that you think he's telling the truth, but you can't really tell. Like, this could just as easily be another lie that he's making up on the spot. But like
Okay.
from the details that he's giving you, it kind of makes sense.
Okay. Uh, I guess you are then a forager. Is that a word? No. Forajido.
Yeah, like a bandit.
Yeah.
Bandit.
No, not a
Like
bandit.
no. When when the government or the police is looking for you and you are
Oh,
escaping.
criminal.
Like an outlaw. Yeah.
Outlaw. Yeah.
An outlaw. Yeah. I guess you're an outlaw then, and you're
Kind
just
of.
trying to escape, or are you
Mm,
looking for someone who can help you with that?
Well, my first thought was escaping. I guess that the others just got dragged into this, so yeah. They are looking for someone. I'm okay with escaping.
Okay.
I am only looking for someone, but not related to this affair.
Okay.
Okay. Um, unless there's anything else that you guys want to talk about.
No.
I'm okay for now.
Cool. So the end of your watch comes, and the others in the group start to get up and get ready for the rest of the day. Start kind of packing up things around the camp. When all of you make a perception check, please.
Perception.
Yep.
Okay.
Idris, can you make a perception check as well?
I'm on it. It's just lagging really badly.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, I misclicked for Jenkins. Wait a second.
Hmm.
Ah, this is awful.
Yeah, it gets really laggy, especially if you're doing multiple sheets. Something you can do is if you go into the settings, you can make it so character sheets and stuff becomes like a pop-out window, like a separate
Already
window.
done that.
Oh, then.
But we have it
I
for
cannot-
Jenkins as well. Yeah, it works. It just takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So, Alessia, you're the first to kind of notice that something's a little bit off. Vixen, you basically the two of you kind of like arrive at this kind of realization at pretty much the same time. The old man is nowhere to be seen, and on a rock, in kind of like a little bit in the middle of the camp, you can see that there is his walking stick and his blindfold, and there appears
Oh.
to be a note.
I read the note.
Can I?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
really need to go to the toilet.
Yes. Yes. Cool. It's fine. You don't need my permission.
Okay. I just don't want to lose anything. Just hold
It's
on.
So yeah.
Sensei Carl, can I go to the toilet?
Kalam-sama, can I go to the toilet?
Anyway, so yeah, you read the note, and you can see in very fine handwriting on this note, it seems to say, "You can always rely upon the kindness of strangers." Signed, the Masked Bandit.
Oh no.
I rolled a 19 on insight, and he lied to
Yeah.
me.
He was
He's
definitely
a
better.
really good
You rolled
liar.
insight, and everything up until that point he had told you was true. everything he lied about happened after you rolled insight on him.
I'm here.
Can we check if he's stolen anything?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody should get through his own
What
stuff.
are we going to use?
I'd say like I'm not even really gonna make you roll for this kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, it's pretty clear after a little while. With some investigation, you're able to figure out that he seems to let me just roll back and see check really quick. So from sorry, from you, Idris, and from you, Alessia, specifically,
He
you
stole
can
from
see.
me. I helped him, this little brat.
You can see that he seems to have taken 10 gold from each of you. If you don't have 10 gold, then he's taken everything you had left.
No, I have 10 gold, but this little.
Where do I
stealing
check
from-
that the gold?
Wait, so he's taken 10 gold from each of us?
He's taken 10 gold from those two.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He seems to have specifically chosen people who he thinks were going to be less aware or less alert.
Oh.
That's great. I don't know where I can check my gold. Sorry.
Let
Yeah.
me show you just a second. So on your character sheet,
Mm-hmm.
so there should be the section with your equipment.
Yes.
Um,
Is a little number in here.
the 40, yeah, that's 40 gold pieces.
Okay, so should I write
now it's-
30 now?
Yeah, now it's 30. Yeah. And you can see that like there's various different like valuable things that he could have taken. He seems to have just taken 10 gold from only 2 of you.
Maybe he just took it because he needed it.
Sorry, but what was the letter saying?
Yeah, it says it said you can always rely upon the kindness of strangers. Signed, the Masked Bandit.
He was a thief.
But he just took 20 gold.
Because maybe we were kind to him and he didn't want to took
No,
everything.
he took the 20 he took 20 gold from the 2 people he thought were dumb.
No, not dumb. More.
No,
less,
that's pretty much what
unobservant.
Callum
less
said.
looking.
It wasn't the dumb.
I agree.
If it'd gone for the lowest intelligence in the group, yeah, he still would have gone for Alessia. That's true, but like,
Not for me.
no, it's the people who he thought were going to be the least observant.
Uh-huh.
I didn't look for my stuff.
And he took nothing else.
Nope.
Did he take
Everything else
anything
is
from
still there.
Hawk?
Nope. Everything's still there.
Can I get the stick?
Can I get this? Can I pick
Yeah.
up the scent off his blindfold and remember it?
You can try to do that. I guess that would be an investigation check, and if you go into your more animalistic form, you can do that with advantage.
Okay. Well, that's a no. He watched the blindfold.
So this is good. When you go to pick it up, you go to smell it, and it has this like horrifically strong smell of like lavender.
Oh.
Like you can kind of imply that like he has heavily perfumed this mask just in case anyone tried to do this with dogs or something.
Well, nuts.
He's a clever chap.
Does anyone have a pen or something with him? I asked the group. Does anyone have something that I can write with?
I do.
And maybe a nail?
Hawk just picks up his backpack and just holds it upside down and just like stuff like pours out of it for a good like 10 seconds, and then one of the last things that comes out is just like tink, just like a little box, and he opens it up and hands you a quill and is just like, there you go.
Thank you. Okay, I want to take the back side of the letter or the note, and I want to write on it, next time just ask for it.
I don't think he's going to come back this way.
Yeah, me neither.
I want to nail it on a or put it somehow fixated on a tree. I hope one day he will maybe walk past it.
We already know that he's going to be heading to the place we're heading to, so
Maybe you just lied about that.
maybe.
I don't
Yeah.
remember if that was
didn't
after or before
because-
the check.
He didn't because you did the insight check and that was one of the first things he said. So
Oh,
he was
yes,
telling
true.
the
It
truth
was,
up at that
yeah,
point.
he actually.
So he will be
yeah.
in yokai. You could take the letter and post it on a billboard. He might see it then.
Yeah. Then I take it with me. I write it down, but yeah, true. It was one of the first things he said, so it has to be true, I guess.
Yeah. Can you write if we have your stick? We need.
We need 20 gold for it.
No.
Okay, so I pick up the stick and bear that with me.
You can write, I will beat you with that stick.
No, she's not mad at all. He could have just asked her for 20 gold. She would have given him the 20 gold.
I mean, I'm not mad at
I
him.
want to have-
I like the stick. It's like, like acrobatics and yeah.
It's a nice stick.
It's a nice stick.
When you look at it kind of like closer, you can see that like it's been made to kind of look rough by being kind of like roughed up and stuff, but like underneath, like it's actually a pretty nice walking stick.
I want that.
Why not?
Yeah.
Sure.
You can give it to your mother. She could need it.
It's classy. I mean, yeah.
All right, then just. Oh, you might be staying here. Hawk,
Yeah.
do you carry poison with you?
What do I look like? Of course I carry poison. What poison do you want?
Any poison you have.
Okay.
Just
give me a
I
second.
just need a sip of it.
You want to drink the poison?
Yes.
What?
Why?
You are into some weird stuff. Okay.
Just wait for it. Jenkins, come here.
Oh no.
He grabs like a
Wait, sorry.
a small vial out from like one of the various different kind of belts and bandoliers that he's wearing.
Mhm.
And he reaches out and kind of like holds it towards you and is just like, 1 drop will put you to sleep, 2 drops will put you to sleep for a long, long time, 3 drops, you don't wake up.
Okay. Jenkins, I think you are ready. I think you are ready to connect to Dollara.
What do you...
You're going to kill this poor guy.
Oh God, Jenkins.
So I look at him and I'm just, Jenkins, if you want to travel with me, you better heal me now. And I drink 2 drops of the poison.
And that's where we're going to go to our break.
Okay, good stuff. I thought you were going to ask Hawk something completely different.
No, not now. I first want to test Jenkins.
First, you want to
okay.
kill Jenkins.
No, I kill myself, not Jenkins, of course. So yeah, guys, for the stream, we're going to a short break and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Oh god.
I'm super hungry.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
She's precious and should be protected at all costs. Right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab a drink. It's a good session.
It's awesome.
Ahorita cagadísima, por favor.
Hmm.
One of my oh no, one of my usual viewers came in.
Mm. Oh, live gone. We lost Naya.
Bread. Okay, interesting.
So good.
I'm just asking them.
it's it's rice, but it's covered in marshmallow. How do what? Buttery. I have to have it buttery. Oh, salt. Hmm. I can't stand sweet popcorn. Hmm. Mm. Somebody poisoned my popcorn. That's really funny. I'm gonna be really gross because I haven't got a spoon, so I apologize.
What are you eating? Like, Part of me wants to judge you, and part of me is just thinking, yeah, I'd do that too.
If it helps, I still have pregnancy hormones because he's only 6 months old, and I'm on my period.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Yay! I could, but it's in the kitchen.
All right.
I will explain it to the stream. So one of the party members is eating kind of a chocolate spread with her fingers, and you can hear her eating it from her fingers. I won't show it now, but
So I can crunch Pringles loudly as well and confuse them
Yes.
even more.
okay,
Yes!
then we will all eat right in the short intermission. So this is now an ASMR stream. I will put it over there. Viewers are like, no. Okay, I muted again. It's okay. I muted. It's don't go away.
better of life.
It would be nice if we could just do like a compilation of all our offcuts for
It's
when we go into
just-
break and be like behind the scenes of D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Create a sitcom about.
In my head canon,
And now you
guys
see
are
what we
passing
guys do
time
in the
game.
break.
Like in the game, you're like, why don't we play like a board game or something? And you're playing as two like normal humans, being like, did you eat the salad? Roll to see if I ate all the salad. I did.
Oh, did you eat? But I know this feeling. Simon is doing salad sometimes as well, and he's really greedy with food. He wouldn't give me one little leaf from his whole bowl of salad. So I always have to ask him if I can get a little bit of his salad, so I know how she feels. Did you eat the salad? Because I want more.
It's because I did a huge bowl of salad this lunch, and I just had a small bowl for now, and he took all the rest, and that's why I'm asking.
I love how you guys are eating salad, Laura's eating a healthy little rice cakes, and there I was sat with a tub of yes, Callum, represent.
Represent what the causes of our nationwide obesity crisis. Yes,
Yes, but we're going out in style,
that we are.
and at least we have flavour.
This is tasty as well, okay? It's nice, it's crunchy. I like crunchy, salty stuff.
Come on.
I'm going to have some cheese and grapes because I'm still hungry.
Ah, that sounds nice.
I do
Yeah,
like.
it's like I love it. It's something like I can't stop eating.
Oh,
I always have grapes and blue cheese at home.
Oh, blue cheese. Oh, I do love my cheeses.
indeed.
Actually, cheese and chocolate is good together too.
Really? Never
Mhm.
tried.
Not even joking. Cheese and chocolate is the bomb.
Salt and
What-
sweet.
Ooh.
Classic.
Even Doggo loves rice cakes.
What chocolate?
Mhm.
Like dark one or?
No, like just regular milk chocolate.
Oh, really? We'll try that. We have some Nutella.
Do it.
No, please not
Well,
now.
actually, I'm not sure if it would go well with blue cheese. Probably more of a cheddar. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not going to risk it. I'm too hungry.
So yeah, that's basically our break, guys. If you ever wondered what are we doing in our breaks, yeah, that's it.
Callum's frozen.
Oh
Where's
no,
Callum?
Callum!
He's frozen like.
I think his battery is low. We have to charge
What,
him.
Callum's?
Yeah,
Yeah, my battery.
let's charge
Needs
Callum.
charging. Someone feed me Pringles.
Oh, Callum, I have started to watch The Umbrella Academy, and I
Oh,
loved
that's
it.
amazing. It's really good.
Really, really good.
It's so good.
Yeah, I
I'm
watched it
still
when
on
it
the
came
second
out.
edition. Yeah, it
And I think I
looks
finished it in one day. It was hilarious. Yeah, sometimes if I start watch series and I just run through it and watch 12 hours straight series, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's actually disgusting.
Are any of you excited for season 3 of Stranger Things? Because I know I am.
No, I don't know.
Oh, I haven't
Yeah,
seen the trailer yet. I seen you send it, but I haven't seen anything yet. So yes, I will be excited as soon as I check what's happening.
It's mind blowing. You need to watch it now. Well, not right now. But today.
I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but I watched the first season of Stranger Things and I wasn't that impressed
It's
by
okay.
it.
I
It was
have
fine. I wasn't
It's
bothered
fine.
enough to watch the second season of it. When
I
it came
haven't
out.
even watched
I-
it, honestly.
I think I like it so much because when I saw that, I think it was amazing, but maybe they have done other series in the time that could be the same style. So when I watched
wouldn't
it,
say
it was
so.
like when I watched it, it was like okay, everything looks like the
It's the
80s.
nostalgia. Yeah, it's the
Yes, the
nostalgia. of
style.
80s. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just that's
and
spot on.
the mixing of the different type of I mean, you can find. Oh, sorry, this is so difficult to explain in English. Sorry. The different types of TV shows you could find in the 80s. For example, like mystery for the too younger,
Ghostbusters.
um, like thriller for the mother, and everything. Like all the, I don't know. I really loved it when it came on because it was okay. It's like watching a film from the 80s,
It's
but
brilliant.
actual.
It's I also like it, but I don't like Game of Thrones, so I also have something like that, Carl. So everybody has this one series that is really popular. And you can't just like, it's not that special for you.
I feel like we're all allowed like one veto where we're like, yeah, I know it's popular and everyone loves it, but I don't care. You're allowed like one of them.
Yeah, for me, definitely Game of Thrones.
For me, it's Stranger Things.
You are that alive. How can you like Game of Thrones? It's impossible.
It's just
Okay,
yeah.
let's bring this to a close.
Do the Marvel movies count?
Yeah. Okay, right. We've
No.
we have our traditional in between the game. Let's argue about media.
Just chatting.
Let's calm this down and get ready to play some D&D again.
Let's do it.
Ori. Sorry.
We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I'm poisoned.
Yeah.
You see me slowly getting really pale. Idris gets pale, and she says, "Jenkins, you just have to believe." And then she sinks in you know, she just gets to the floor, but she's like not completely knocked out, but can't talk or anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, if you would like to make a roll or use one of Jenkins' abilities, please do.
I take it we can all see this going down.
Yeah. It's like right in the middle of camp.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about that. Honestly, I don't stop her.
Just think, Jenkins, if she died and you knew necromancy, you could bring her back.
If he would do that, I would kill myself instantly if I'm back. How do I click that? It's an ability, but how do I put it in?
If you click on the ability itself. Yeah, there we
Found
go.
it.
I have to say that she doesn't believe in her god that much because she only took 2 drops and not 3. This is the one that kills.
I didn't want to kill myself. I want to poison myself.
Okay.
There's a difference.
I don't know. A god
So-
all about love wouldn't want anyone just worthlessly poisoning themselves.
It's not worthlessly. I'm training a new
so-
paladin.
You can't answer back. You're poisoned. You're like on
Yeah.
the floor
Okay.
having a fit. Stop it,
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, I'm poisoned. I'm feeling bad.
Yeah.
But I believe.
So,
I just
Idris, make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Of course. Will just take a while.
what's the verb for when you are using a stick to pinch something?
Like poke it.
Are you
Yeah, I want to.
poking her with the stick?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Idris, you take the couple of drops, and you basically kind of fall to the ground, kind of like crumple down. Jenkins immediately starts he's holding his sword. He just drops it on the floor and starts hyperventilating. He's just like, what the? He literally he turns around to Hawk and looks at him. He's just like, what the fuck? And then Hawk is just like, she asked me to give her some poison. I give her the poison. I'm not going to question. She's a scary lady. He's just like, and he's just like, Dollar guide me, and then runs over and puts his hand on basically just shoves his hand on your forehead, and everyone who's onlooking, his hand starts to glow slightly. And then after a few seconds, Idris, you come back to consciousness and you have taken 3 points of poison damage. And for the next hour, you are actually poisoned. So you're at disadvantage on all ability checks.
But he can heal the poisoning.
He heals the damage. He doesn't heal the condition.
Oh yes, he can.
Oh.
He can.
Not
With
yet,
lay
he
on
can't.
As an action,
He can use 5 points
you're
of.
the target of one disease on it. Okay, so he can choose between healing the condition or healing the damage. Okay.
Yep.
So he's healing the condition then, yes?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. In which case you take 10 points of poison damage,
That's good enough.
but you're not poisoned.
Yeah. Yep. That's good. I heal myself.
Cool.
With lay on hands. That's totally fine for me.
Just
I just
grasp yourself at some point. Just
yes.
that feels better. So yeah, immediately like he's like taking his hand off you as soon as you've like come back to consciousness, and he's just staring at his own hand, like lightly glowing, and he's just like.
I look at him and I say, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. Dolara accepted you as a paladin, as a real paladin.
He runs over and he just like throws his arms around you, gives you a massive hug,
Oh.
and then he steps back and he slaps you directly across the face and is like, "Don't do that again."
No, I won't. I just wanted to see what happens. But you got through the test, so everything is good.
Yeah, that was cool.
Well done, Jenkins.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
We have to boost his self-esteem a little bit.
And then rip it down.
No, that's not how you give hope.
Who says we want to give hope?
I am. He's my student. Yeah, I would say student.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you call
And
it with paladins, so it's probably student.
Pupil.
Underling.
Yeah, he's the technical term is he's your disciple.
Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, like yeah, it would be just as accurate to say the kid that follows me around. So,
He's learning. Look
Anyway.
at him. Look at him.
He's basically
only,
your
like-
pet.
Yeah.
No, he's now a paladin.
So he walks back over and he picks up his sword again, and kind of like, for a brief second when he picks up his sword, like the length of his sword appears to glow a little bit as well, and he's just like, ooh, and then it kind of like fades back down again, and he's just like, oh.
You will have to learn more, but it will get better with time.
Yeah, he sheaves his sword and then like comes to stand next to you and is just like, all right, where to today?
Yeah, I think we will go on with our little journey.
So Gimba's gonna make a survival check. And I'll say he'll actually use his navigator's tools for this one. He's able to see like the ceiling of the cave, so he's able to get out his like little mechanical thingamajig and start kind of like pointing and measuring between a few of the different like little geodes that you can see glowing in the ceiling to get his bearings. So he's going to make a survival check with advantage. Yep. So after getting turned around yesterday, he takes a couple of minutes just to kind of survey the surroundings, and then eventually he just kind of points in a direction. He's like, "Okay, south's that way. All right, let's get going." And you guys set off for the day. So you guys travel for a few hours. You get to kind of mid-morning-ish. And as you guys are walking, eventually, in the midst of some of the undergrowth, are we going to assume that, as per usual, Vixen, you're probably the closest to the front of the group?
Yeah, most likely.
Make a perception check for me.
Hockaday.
You can hear steps and some tapping.
No more blind guys, please.
Suddenly, 3 blind guys. No.
Stab them.
No. As you're walking, it takes you a little while to kind of realize it, like until it's pretty much like almost directly in front of you, in fact. But you can see that there appears to be something kind of in your path that appears to be metallic. It's quite large, like probably about 2 meters tall and about a meter wide. It looks to you. Give me an insight check.
Okay.
It's Elon Musk in a space rocket.
Oh god, it can stay
It's
there.
only as tall as me. Or am I a little bit tall?
You're a
Taller.
little bit taller, but it's
I know
pretty tall.
exactly what this is.
You saw
Oh,
this
you do.
every day.
It takes you a little while to recognize it, but this to you looks like a warforged. These are kind of mechanical constructs. They're made of metal, vaguely kind of humanoid in shape, but fairly large. And they were designed to be essentially mechanical robots of war. This one appears to be inactive. It seems to be from this distance. You're about kind of a meter or so away from it. It doesn't seem to be moving, and you can tell from looking at it that like the metal on it seems to be kind of in some points rusted, in other points very badly dented and worn, and it appears to also have kind of bits of moss and a few kind of like vines and things kind of wrapped around it. It seems to have been. It's kind of like it's kind of sat like on a rock, like almost as if it kind of like sat down to rest. And it doesn't seem to have moved from that spot for probably you'd guess a good couple hundred years.
Wow. Would I know how to start it?
With an insight check like that, I'd say you'd know that they run on basically some kind of like arcane engine. So with the correct application of some magic to it, it might jumpstart it.
The old
Okay.
lady could help us.
Yeah, let's fire some magic at this thing. Let me see what might work. Do you know what? I'm going to use command
Okay.
at level 2. Wake up!
Okay. Let me just check. Doesn't appear to do anything.
Ah!
But
Okay.
did it move or something, or just
It's
static?
It's completely still. It doesn't seem to have moved from you casting that spell at it.
So it's a certain type of magic.
You can safely assume that, yes.
I
If
have
any
the
of you,
the
do any of
electric
you get
one.
kind of a bit closer to inspect it more?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make an investigation check. One of you can provide advantage to the others. If you
Oh, that'd be lovely. I could do with an advantage.
Okay.
I'm coming.
14, we'll say.
Yes. So it takes you a while to kind of figure it out. You need to kind of like a combination of like blow some dust off it and also kind of like move some of like the collected vines and moss out of the side. But you can see on the back it appears to have like a small kind of plaque, almost like it was kind of printed onto the back out of kind of raised metal, like someone like punched through a sheet of metal. And you can see that on this plaque it says 4NN-13.
Wait a second. Let me type that. 4NN dash 13.
Annie 13? Maybe its name is Annie?
Hold on.
What?
Hold up a minute.
Hold on a moment.
Okay. How big are the holes of the plaque?
The holes. Oh, it's kind of, it's like it's dented into the metal. It's not like holes so much.
Okay.
So that would be what, like a serial number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, Idris, I have seen you done this before. Maybe you can, summon the power of Dolara without striking him, like using the thunderclap, just to,
To poke it. Okay.
Oh, I tell you what. Why don't we test your theory on how amazing God is and see if you can wake him up?
It's not a competition.
I mean, I can help. I have, yeah, I can create some thunder and electricity as well. But yeah, I guess that the Dolara's power should be enough. She's a goddess after all.
Sorry, guys, I'm answering chat in the stream.
That's okay.
Yes, I will try to. What could I use? I think. Using my power for this. Gosh, it's spell slot I lose for this. All right.
The thunder, come on.
Yeah, I will make the thunder smite, but I won't really strike down on it. I will more like poke it so it gets some of the magical energy, thunder's energy.
Okay, so like you're not aiming at the actual thing, you're just kind of like trying to get it so the electricity.
Yeah,
like...
I will try to give the magical electricity over.
Yeah. So just mark down the spell slot for that, and I'm not going to make you roll for it because it's a completely stationary target. It's pretty easy for you to do that. When you do, some of the electricity most of it just kind of like grounds pretty harmlessly into the forest floor, but a couple of arcs of electricity do seem to kind of make their way to kind of the chest area of this warforged, and kind of like dance along a little bit and make their way up into the head area. And when it does, the warforged seems to begin to kind of you can hear slightly mechanical noises coming from inside of it, and eventually the kind of like hollow kind of triangular shapes where the quote unquote eyes are of the creature start to kind of flicker and come to life slightly, and you hear this.
Stand up.
The warforged kind of creakily starts moving its limbs. It has to kind of shudder and kind of. You can see a couple spots where like the foliage is like trying to kind of like tie it down. It has to like break through it, and through the combination of a couple centuries of rust and growth, it takes a good 10-15 seconds or so to kind of go from sitting to standing. and it seems to kind of very mechanically look around its surroundings, just kind of survey back and forth before coming back and looking down at you, Vixen.
What was your last protocol? Guys, what do we ask it?
Idris seems to turn into a 5-year-old child with lots of curiosity for this. She's really amazed. She's like, "What? This is so amazing! A human did this. This is perfection. That's just wow." That the human is. You see, why do you want to bring something to life, back to life? Why do you want to mess with life? Life is so perfect. Look at this. A human was or a dwarf, I don't know, was a living being, was able to create this. And she's like looking at it, really curious, really, really. She's like, oh, and it's moving. It's able to move.
I wave at him and I ask him, "Hey, brother, what's your name? Can we call you, I don't know, 4NN-13? Or what's that?"
I'm sorry, but I can't hear the robot properly.
We'll call you N for short.
I cannot hear the robot either, but it's okay.
You have to turn on in D20 probably this volume.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
That turned off.
I can turn the volume on the robot up a little bit, but
No, don't worry. I have the
It's roll 20.
receiving nothing from others. Yeah.
Can you show me, Fran?
Oh yeah, let me show you. I'll be
hang on,
back in
I'll
12
Every-
seconds.
Everybody who's watching the stream, you will see oh no, you won't see the magic trick because the camera is not on. Ah, it's so sad.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I can put the magic trick.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. Yay!
Wow!
look at that! He
It's
was
legit,
there.
it's the same
Magic
place.
is real.
He's a real magician. He can just teleport between
teleport.
places. Yeah. If I would ask him, he could
Yeah.
come here, but
He'd
you
be
know,
able to.
it's I don't need him
Can
right
you
now.
try that again, a call?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Cool.
Chat is amazed as well.
Okay, so we're just gonna call it N for now.
It appears to be it reaches down to its side, and you can see that there is a spot where there would be like a scabbard or a holster for a sword, but when it reaches down, the sword doesn't appear to be there anymore, and it just looks down to its side and then moves its hand back to kind of a neutral position in front of it, and is just looking again, looking at you, Vixen, just not saying anything.
N, what's your primary function? Oh. Who has access?
I ask it the same question. Who has access?
Authorization required. Access denied. Access denied.
Oh, echo.
Sorry, it's my fault. Because I need to charge my phone, and I just took my headphones off. It will only be with the robot.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair enough.
It just adds to the effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's even weirder.
N, what systems are operational?
Error. Unknown data.
Can you carry us to where we need to go?
Affirmative.
Right, do it. Let's leave no tracks.
Okay.
Okay.
Can he carry me?
We're riding the big robot into town, everybody.
One question.
Yes.
Wait, this is
Can
a good idea.
Yes.
And can you tell the horoscope?
Error. Unknown data.
Okay.
Right, let's write this thing in stone.
wait a second. Okay, is it clever to take a big robot into the town when we are
This might be the
persons of interest?
Cleverer than leaving our tracks when people are looking for us.
You can take it with us, but we shouldn't ride into the town with it.
Well, closer.
We should maybe find a way to disguise it a little bit.
Well, I don't know what you're going to do to disguise a big giant robot, and don't turn it into a horse.
Oh.
No, okay, no horse, no shiny horse.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have an idea?
Sorry.
Well,
I don't think so.
we could go close and then disguise it into a mountain.
Is it that giant?
It's not that tall. It's shorter by about kind of a. It comes up to about Alessia's shoulders.
Oh, okay. So a big tree.
But how is he in the outside? Like,
What do you mean?
so can we clearly see that it's a robot? I mean, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe we can dress him up and tell that he's another giant.
The question is, Vixen, you saw something like this earlier. Is it super unusual?
I would say it's pretty unusual.
So
Yeah,
you-
I
so
think,
you- yeah, okay.
You've specifically only seen one of these before.
Okay, so it would definitely draw attention.
Yeah.
But also the big lady would probably draw attention as well.
Okay, I've got a new plan. If anyone comes this way looking for us, how about we use this thing to distract them?
Yes, not.
So if people have been following us, maybe we can use this thing to either deter them or give them a distraction.
But maybe it belongs to somebody.
Well, then it's just going to stay here. Someone knows where it is. It's been here years. Like, look, it's been here like over 100 years. If anyone was going to claim it, they'd have done so by now.
Will the energy last enough for that? Maybe
Could we take it with us?
it just stops working and yeah.
I suggested take it with us, but no one wants to ride the thing.
Oh, you can definitely ride it. I'm just thinking of how we bring it in the city without being seen. I don't have a problem if we take it with us.
Maybe we can just leave him aside from a few miles from the city. He just can take us most of the trail.
Yeah,
Most of
let's
the-
do that.
Yeah, let's take it as close as possible. We can still pick it up when we have a boat or something ready. We can just, we can just run through the city and don't care.
Yeah,
Jump
we
on the
can-
boat and
We can make it sit down by a tree. It will be
just
no
wait for
problem.
us. Yeah.
And we can hear our horoscopes meanwhile.
So yeah. The robot, the warforged in front of you, again, like it seems to have stepped forwards a little bit, and then it kind of goes down onto one knee and like offers out an arm.
I climb on the arm.
Okay. Once you're on the arm, it kind of like retracts and then like puts you on like its shoulder.
Cool.
And it's when you actually like get put down on the shoulder, like a little kind of like it's almost like a little like compartment, like a mechanized thing, like pops up. So it's like you've got like a little seat,
Oh,
like pops up in the shoulder.
Idris is looking really, really amazed.
guys, you need to come
Yeah.
up here. This is so much fun.
Okay, I'm
when
doing
you
it.
when you give it like a closer look, you realize that this isn't so much it's a seat as like a small portion of like armor has like come out of the shoulder, like a little armored pauldron.
That's cool.
Hmm.
Fancy. Is there more
Hey,
space?
Alicia, I can talk to you face to face from here.
That's much nicer.
Hi.
Oh, the old lady and Hawk should sit up
You
there.
feel tiny.
I feel tiny.
If you look towards Hawk at any point during this whole conversation, he's just like looking really like awkwardly at it, just like.
Don't want to sit on it? And
Do you think
and
we can sell it?
Lady Selvin?
I have a thing about constructs. There was a whole that I don't want to talk about it. I don't like them.
Okay, Lady Selvin, would you like to ride?
Lady Selwyn just like walks straight up and just says, "Well, it seems like it will be a fairly decent, comfortable ride." And she turns back to look at you, Alessia, and just says, "No offense, but the whole spikes thing is a bit."
It's fine. Don't mind.
How many
So
people
yeah,
can sit on it?
Just two, like one on each shoulder.
Oh, okay, then the old lady and Vixen will sit there, I guess.
Mhm.
Idris looks a little bit disappointed, but
Can you
she's
ride on a
okay.
foot?
No, it would be more like being kicked forwards.
Yeah.
Not very comfortable. um, so yeah, the Warforged starts to look around, and then seeing the direction that you were coming from, looks the opposite direction down the path, and just kind of looks up at you, Vixen. You can see that there's like two little mechanical things that are supposed to kind of resemble like eyebrows, and they kind of like raise up, just kind of like,
About a mile and a half out from Yokai. Head there.
And you set off walking. You are making it's a slightly faster pace than you were previously doing. Not having to worry about carrying Lady Selwyn, and not having to worry quite so much about some of the vegetation. There are a few points where normally you would have had to try and navigate around, and basically the Warforged just walks up to a tree and just like pushes it out of the way.
Oh, don't do that.
But you continue walking for a fair amount. The very loud mechanical clanking sounds coming from inside seem to be a little bit unhealthy.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
I can repair it.
There's a quite repetitive point where it seems like there are a few gears that might be grinding at the same point when it takes like a step with its left leg. Kind of like.
It's right behind the rock.
Now I have a question. Since I'm a researcher, my background is a researcher before I turned into a paladin.
Yeah.
Since I studied at a university, do you think I could make out and what it is and repair it?
Okay.
Let me see what check that would be. Give me a second.
In this time, I'm telling it to stop.
Okay. If you tell it to stop, it just stops on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it doesn't like finish taking a step. It just pauses mid-step, like perfectly still. Let me just check. I think it would have to be you'd have to make two rolls. You'd have to make a history check to see if you have remembered anything about these kind of things, and then you'd have to do an investigation check to see if you can actually find and diagnose the problem. So if that's what you'd like to do, then
I
go
want
ahead.
it. It just takes forever.
It's okay.
I already clicked it. Ooh, okay, I know. Okay.
Wait, oh, that'd be a no.
But I can't find it. Do I get advantage because I'm a researcher? And that's my job to research things?
Yeah, sure.
On the history check, yes. You are very knowledgeable about the theoretical understanding of how these things work, but in practice, you're like, like,
Oh,
In your head, you're like, oh, it's probably something to do with that specific kind of crankshaft mechanism. Yes, that makes that kind of noise. And then when you like take apart like a portion of like the leg armor to have a look inside, you just look at it and you're like,
horse is just behind the butcher in the south.
I have no idea what this. Like, it's a combination of the fact that this is an extremely complex mechanism. Like there are bits in here that you look at and you're like, I don't even know what this does. Like there are entire sections of this leg
Wait, he died.
which seem to have things like inbuilt armor plating and bits of kind of wiring, and there are a few points in it where you can see there are arcane glyphs that have been like inscribed on individual cogs and things like that, where you're like, this works partly through mechanical means and partly through magical means. Like it's too complex a mechanism for you to figure out
alone, but I asked the group to help me. I asked the whole group to help me to figure out. I tell them what I know about it, but I don't understand it, and maybe we can figure it out together.
Okay.
Can we all roll?
I mean, I'm good with the hands, but I know nothing about this.
What should we roll?
You can do one more investigation check. One person can provide advantage and one person can roll.
Sorry.
Did not provide
I
advantage.
haven't missed one, so Ellen.
The question, but the question is, wouldn't Hawk? Would I think that Hawk is kind of?
Hawk does not want to touch it.
Oh, okay, so I can't ask him.
Hawk is like the rest of you are in a fairly kind of tight clump. He is deliberately like 20 feet away from the rest of you, like looking at it like the entire time that you're walking.
Hey, N, grab Hawk.
He'll do that in a second when you're not actively like in the middle of doing something. So Ellen, with that, like you're able to see there's a couple of spots where there's like loose bits of like leaves and foliage that seem to have gone into the mechanism that you're able to kind of dislodge a little bit. And it makes it sound slightly more healthy, but it's still when you kind of shut the leg compartment and the Warforged starts walking towards Hawk with arms outstretched, and Hawk is just like screaming like swear words and infernal at it. It's still making the grinding noise. It's not quite as loud, but it's still there. So yeah, eventually.
How tall is Hawk?
Hawk is about kind of about 6 feet tall, about the same height as a normal human would be.
Okay, so I can't just simply grab him and put him on my shoulders.
I mean, you can try. You're pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm pretty strong.
and he doesn't look particularly like weedy. He looks kind of thin, like yeah. He doesn't look like he weighs that much, so you could definitely try and pick him up if you want.
No, I thought if he may be small, that he would feel more comfortable next to it. If it wouldn't be that tall next to it, but he's not really, maybe if it's smaller in his view, it would make him more comfy. But he's not that small.
That's down 225.
No. We see kind of like from his perspective, we can see like what little kind of light is coming down from like the geodes in the ceiling of the cave gets kind of like blotted out by this humongous robotic form that lumbers towards him, like hands outstretched, and he's just like and then eventually we just kind of see it from the Warforged perspective, and everything is silent except for Hawk screaming like a little girl while it picks him up and just holds him at arm's length. And just looks back to you, Vixen, just like,
I look at Vix and I say, I didn't bring it. Dol Ara didn't bring it to life to make bad things with it. Could you please stop it?
It's not doing anything bad. It's just picking up Hawk.
It's scaring Hawk. You know it. I didn't bring it back to life. I didn't give it energy to make bad things with it. You could have done it with your own god's energy, but you couldn't. So
after
Please
a couple
try to do
seconds
good.
of being, after a couple seconds of being held, Hawk just like reaches down into his like one of the various pouches, and he gets out something in the palm of his hand. You can't quite tell what it is, and then suddenly he just like disappears from that spot and reappears like about 10 feet to the left. And it's just like.
Sorry,
65 from
Hawk, I
you.
shouldn't have given her
Just
that
left of
toy.
Hawk, you're keeping all the good stuff.
Don't let that thing touch me.
Alright.
Okay.
Doesn't feel healthy. Maybe we should
Yeah,
leave it
sounds
here
like
the other guy
and
at
find somebody who
120.
can help us repair it.
Okay,
Okay.
take us off your shoulder and sit down gently.
Okay. It takes you both down quite gently and like sets you down, and then it goes and finds there's like a what looks like a tree stump that's partially kind of like rotted through, so the tree's kind of fallen over, and he goes and just like takes a seat on this tree stump, kind of sinks in a little bit from the rotted wood, but then seems to kind of come to a stop.
How far are we from the city?
Make a survival check. Okay. It's difficult to tell exactly, but you think if you were to go in a pretty straight line, you're probably about another 2 or 3 days away from Yokai.
Hmm.
So it's not like really worth it. Leave it here and come back.
No, not really. Could we carry it? Just a question. I'm pretty strong and the big lady's also pretty strong. Could we together somehow manage to carry it?
But maybe if we, I mean, it's not sounding healthy, but it's working. If we push it a little harder and then if it didn't work, then we can carry it.
I think we should carry it. We shouldn't push it further.
Communicate.
Yeah, I would
my
agree.
my knowledge tells me that if we maybe destroy more, it will be more expensive to repair it. It could become really expensive to repair it. So I think we should try to not harm it more than it already is.
Okay.
Wait, why do we want a robot anyway?
Because it's a robot.
It's
No,
cool.
it's cool, but we don't want to, stand
We
out.
don't want it forever, just to get us there a bit faster. It's just a convenient thing
I
we
mean,
stumbled upon.
we're a group of 9 people, I guess.
We could give it to somebody in the city who would maybe help us if we gift it to him to get out of the country. That's
While you're having this whole conversation, whenever one of you speaks, you notice that previously it had been like very kind of stiff and robotic, but it seems to be like actively looking back and forth at you as you speak, like trying to take in the conversation. Just...
We won't leave you here.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
Anne.
don't want to leave it here.
Hey,
It's
Anne.
awesome.
Where do you come from? Why were you left here?
What? What
Want to come
functions?
with us?
What functions do you have that we have access to? Ah.
Ask him if he wants to come with us.
Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah. See, Anne's been asleep for a long time. We can't just leave him out here.
No, I think
What-
so as well.
Who was your last master?
He couldn't tell us that.
Hmm.
Maybe in the city we can find someone who can hack him.
He's over 100 years old, but yeah, there might be someone that can hack him.
I mean, he says authorization required.
That authorization is probably long dead.
Depending, dwarves live
What-
really long lives. Around
What's an authorization? Like a password?
Oh, a password. Not
That
for
might sound
NN13.
really, yeah. That was what I was guessing.
Somehow I...
Is that what you say? Do you say the like serial number?
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that's the password.
Nice try though.
Oh,
Is
password.
is a
Okay,
password password?
Don't, because we might get locked out completely. Like
No, it's not password.
okay,
Damn it.
okay.
I will let you know now. It's also not 11111 or
Oh,
123456789.
Not 000?
is there any way we could find out the password? Can you tell us the password?
Did I see something inside that could give me a hint? Or Alan?
Give me an insight check.
So we could find out the password.
What can we ask him that can make us guess the password?
Can I?
The year he was made or something like
You ask him like what year were you made in? Yeah.
Oops.
that? Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I pressed it
Okay.
2 times. But the first one was a nat
Yeah.
20.
First one's an actual 20.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, the best you can tell, there's nothing in there that's like, here's the password on a piece of paper or anything. But you can tell from it suddenly kind of clicks in your mind some memories of when you were studying these kind of things. That different serial numbers are tied to the different places where they were made and the different things that they were made for. And with this serial number, you can tell that this was intended to be it was a warforged that was designed specifically for battle. You can tell that it was intended to have it was intended to be more something to protect its allies rather than to deal damage. And you can tell from some of the kind of cogs and pieces when you're inside it looking at it that it was most likely engineered somewhere in House Korith.
Oh.
I think out loud. So you can see me like one of this thinking people, like philosophers walking around with hands like this, walking, and I'm talking and I'm making these things out in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So
The old researcher in me is back.
Ask your mum, Ellen. She's old. She might remember it.
She just looks at you and just says, "I have a name, thank you very much."
I can't remember it. I'm sorry.
Lady Salvin.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
thank you very much.
yeah, well, what's your first name?
None of your business.
Ah,
My
well,
first
none of
name
your
is
business.
Lady.
That'll be what I call you.
I've seen a few of these from time to time. They were of some good use back in the ancient wars. We used to have a fair few of them, entire regiments, in fact. I never commanded any of them myself. I was more to do with the intelligence side of warfare rather than the actual front lines. So
I would say this part is quite an intelligent side of warfare.
this particular model, no. You can see, and she points at the kind of the pauldron that came out of the shoulder and says, as Idris was saying, she's quite correct. This was in fact a protector model rather than one of the destroyer models.
Do you know
but
the
it was designed for the front
passwords
line.
for the other models? Maybe we
The
can see a
passwords were
pattern.
set on an individual basis. It very much depends upon the owner. When you are first given one of these, you're able to set your own password.
Who was given them?
Well, there are a few generals. Generally speaking, these were given as soldiers, so their commanders. There'd be different levels of password the further down you go. There were those who could give specific orders, and those that could give, on the fly battle things like defend this spot or such, just to expedite the whole process when you're on the front lines. But
So
honestly,
let's just
it
try.
could be anything.
Let's just try to go everything that's somehow has to do anything with protection and battle. So let's start with the word. Is the password protection?
At this point, rather than going through the whole, the whole recorded speech again, when you say that, the Warforged just kind of shakes its head.
Okay, so Lady Selwyn.
Can we just go easier path? So you said that it was related to the place it was created. I mean, House Correth has how many important places? Like 4. So, are you originally from Irama?
As in, you're asking your mother that?
No, the robot directly. I don't.
Oh, the robot.
He won't answer.
The robot shakes its head.
But were you originally from the House of Correth Island?
Maybe the name of the king or queen of that time.
Lady Selwyn?
Do we know that?
They've had the same name for centuries. It's a title that gets passed down. We can try, I guess. She walks over to the Warforged, and she stands in front of it and clears her throat. Just by the authority of he who weeps, I command you to relinquish. And it just stares blankly at her and then shakes its head. It's like,
Good try.
ah, well, worth a try.
Yeah,
good
you
try.
did a good job.
Have you tried all the cities?
No. But
If you try all the cities rather than waiting for you to go through all of them, if you when you ask it going round, it confirms that it was built in obsidian lock.
Okay.
Could Idris make out something with this information? Could she combine it as a good researcher,
so
Give me an insight check with advantage. Nope.
okay.
It makes sense to you that it would be built in obsidian lock. It's a fairly technical place. They tend to be focused more on kind of combining mechanical things with magical things. That's pretty much their deal. But doesn't give you any more information.
And can we assume that each part of your serial number means one thing is the place where you were created and the other one is your old master?
No, he said it was what he was built for.
Ah, what? Okay. So I changed my question. One part is related to the place and the other is to your function?
Yes.
So which one is obsidian lock and which one is the I
I
don't know.
think 13 might be obsidian love, and the other because he said a few things about that.
I don't know.
You notice at this point that where previously it had been kind of looking from person to person quite attentively, it seems to its movement seemed to be getting kind of smaller. It seems to be moving kind of slower.
And are you tired?
Annie, look at me. Look at me. We have a problem here, okay? We want to take you with us, and I have enough magical energy you need to come with us. That's all fine. But you have to give us access.
It looks at you, and you can see like it seems to be kind of using as much of its kind of emotive power as it can to kind of look at you in this kind of sad way, just like, I'm trying but I can't. Like,
Can we give it more power?
I can give it more power, yes. Since your magic didn't work. Yes, I do it
It's
again.
my idea.
I do it again. I do my Thunder Smite again. And I have one left after that. After that, I need a rest.
okay. The power does seem to kind of go into it. Its eyes brighten up a little bit, but then they start to kind of dim down again.
Oh no.
And it kind of seems to kind of hunch forward a little bit. And it looks up at you, Idris, and it says this. And then it hunches forward, and the light goes out of its eyes.
At least he didn't sing Daisy Daisy.
That's so sad.
I know, I actually kind of feel a bit.
Maybe we can take it with us. We can carry it, and maybe we can find somebody to repair
Would it fit in? Would it fit in Hawk's pretty trinket box?
The pretty trinket box.
It's magical. It's beautiful.
It's pretty.
So let's say like the pretty trinket box is like maybe like that big.
It's
The Warforged,
enchanted.
just the foot of the Warforged is like that big.
But it's bigger on the
Hawk.
inside.
You have to be able to fit it through the
Hawk.
opening.
Oh, could he shrink it?
Hawk. Look at me,
Yes.
Hawk. You have
I'm
this bag of
looking.
holding. I know you can put in stuff that could breathe, but this thing doesn't have to breathe. Put it in your bag of holding.
Um.
I will carry it for you, and I will take it out of it.
Look, no offense. I have a lot of very valuable things in here. You know, my
Hawk is asleep. What's it gonna do?
And it's in your bag of holding. It can't
it's
come out
heavy
there.
enough to probably crush most of the stuff in my bag. That's what it's going to do.
We can get everything out of your bag, put it in, and put everything on top.
That's a good idea.
Hawk, I saved your life a couple of times.
Honestly, he saved ours a couple of times.
Yeah.
I mean, do we know where is the main computing thing in the robot?
I think-
Idris, you'd know that it's it is generally kind of contained within like the processing is done in like in the head portion and like a little bit of the chest portion.
I mean,
No, we take it
following
completely.
our tradition of beheading things, we can get his head.
No, we take it completely. I have enough heads.
Idris, make a persuasion check to try and convince Hawk to.
Oh, and I say
It's gonna be.
I owe you something if you do it.
If you do that, then you have advantage on it. Let's see.
Come on, roll 20.
Come on, you can do it. Roll 20.
Yes!
So the
something. If you want something from me, you could probably ask him since we travel together. She really likes them.
Tilly wants your nice glowy armor.
I can get a new one. That's just materia things.
So yeah, Hawk happily he hands over the bag. It takes a little while to kind of maneuver because this Warforged, like when it's not active, the dead weight of it is real heavy. Like it's pretty ridiculous. But you do manage to kind of like one leg at a time, like get it into the bag and like shimmy it up. It seems to take up like a fair amount of the space in this bag to the point where like the head and like one of the arms is like sticking out when it gets to a point where you can't seem to pull it up anymore.
It's like C3PO.
Can you carry it, Alessia?
I can.
Yeah,
You,
Alessia
you
can
can
definitely
tell
carry it.
me at some point, but for now it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully we
yeah.
find the password.
At least we have to find somebody who repairs them. Or her. It.
So yeah, you guys managed to collect all together this Warforged, put them in the pack. Alessia, you're able to kind of like sling it over your shoulder. It's pretty heavy, but like you've carried heavier stuff before. It's not too bad. And you guys set off at a walking pace further off into the forest. And just before we finish up for tonight, we see another scene. None of the characters are present for this, but what we see is in a clearing in the forest. We see the kind of wreckage and decomposing bodies of the Myconids and the Myconid sovereign that you guys had fought, and in amongst all of this mess, we see the Drow woman, this time not wearing her official kind of guard uniform, but wearing some kind of fairly tight-fitting levers and some leather armor. And we see the humongous lizard man that is Krillic with his one mechanical arm kind of lumber into the middle of this area. And she puts her hand out, and again, various different pools of blood kind of coalesce into floating orbs. And Krillic walks over and goes to one of them, sniffs it, and just nods and says, "Couple days out, I reckon. They're moving pretty quickly." And she just says, "Well, I guess we better start running then." And they set off at a sprint into the forest.
Oh no!
And that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. So thank you very much, guys, for watching us on the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun playing this tonight. So once again, we are in association with Horsham Gamers, a local group that covers all the gaming spectrum, through from tabletop and board games such as this, through to competitive gaming and esports, and anything that you can, anything at all to do with gaming and the nerd culture. We're interested in it too. So if you would like to come and join us and come and talk to us, come meet us, then please do just look for us on Facebook. We are Horsham Gamers on Facebook, and also on Discord. Come and say hi. We'd love to meet you. We're getting real close to 300 members now, so it's a really big community. And I'm sure you will find other like-minded people who'd love to chat gaming with you. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.